Hello everyone. So as promised, chapter 3 of Cleanse to Heal today. And this chapter is called A Wake Up Call to What's Inside Us. And this chapter goes into all the potential troublemakers that surround us in our society. And to start this off, I just wanted to give you guys some thoughts from the first paragraph that he writes. So he says, we can choose not to see everything we're exposed to and how that threatens our health. We can know it exists and ignore it, pretending that it doesn't exist or living in denial. We can even not know it exists because we haven't learned. So, just some thoughts for you guys before we get into this topic. Just think about it by the end of the video. So I wanted to just go over the main ideas that Anthony talks about in this chapter. So he talks about, he has certain paragraphs on the big troublemakers. So one of them is Mercury. And he talks about how even though Mercury doesn't have like a huge presence nowadays today, it's basically, it has been passed down from generations to generations from our ancestors, and it gets genetically passed down through the sperm and egg. So that's why it carries over to us currently, even though we may not be exposed to it as much as we think we are. And where is it on our daily basis? So we have tap water, restaurants that use tap water, factories that use tap water. So that's where it is. What does Mercury do? So Mercury weakens our immune systems. You can have emotional struggles from it, mental struggles, and it feeds viruses. And so some of the things to help us with that, a lot of wild foods like wild blueberries help to eliminate mercury from our bodies. So the next paragraph was about air fresheners, scents, and perfumes. So air freshener scents, how do they enter our blood system? So basically, all these substances have waxy oils on them, or excuse me, they're made of waxy oils. And when we inhale these waxy oils, they're going to sit in our lungs and build up in our lung sacs, and it is very, very hard to get rid of them. So what happens then is basically you need a lot of detoxing to kind of get rid of them. And it's so ironic because he actually says that if you're going to pick smoking versus breathing in air fresheners and scents, pick smoking because that is less toxic. So if you guys remember from, your classes in elementary school seeing, what happens to lungs when someone smokes, well, if air fresheners are worse, then it's doing some bad stuff. Anyway, so what actually happens is it's going to, these toxins from air fresheners are going to enter our blood system, and they're going to kill off our white blood cells. So for people who are immune compromised, so people with UTIs, sinus infections, fibromyalgia, MS, eczema, psoriasis, and Hashimoto's, after being exposed to these scents and air fresheners, they might have flare-ups for the next 3 or 4 days from that specific chronic illness that they are battling. The next topic was fungicides. So fungicides are found on new clothes, new furniture, sometimes in cars. They spray them into cars as well, and dry cleaning as well. And so fungicides have a lot of copper, and if you have too much copper, that is going to be responsible for eczema and psoriasis. So really be careful of that. I know that before I cleansed, I couldn't really smell fungicides. I didn't really know what they smell like, but now when I go to the store and buy new clothes, I can definitely smell it. It makes my nose itchy, like my lungs start to feel weird. I get a little bit of anxiety. So those are just my personal symptoms, but yeah, so they're everywhere. So just You know, it's the thing is like all of these things that Anthony mentions in here, we can't escape them. You know, you can't just, we're living in this society that we live in, and you're not going to escape all these chemicals. The best thing that we can do is we can try to avoid them. So, you know, if there's someone, you know, on the train that's sitting next to you and is using, you know, is sprayed with a lot of like deodorant, not deodorant, excuse me, not deodorant, perfumes. If someone has a lot of perfumes or different, you know, scents on their clothes, then, you know, you can try to, you know, avoid those kinds of things, you know, move somewhere else, or even sometimes, you know, just if you're going to go to the store and you know that that store has perfume that irritates you, don't go to that store. You know, try to order online, things like that. Like that's what I do. Fungicides, gasoline. So with gasoline, it's kind of interesting because historically people didn't used to pump gas on their own, and because they didn't do that, they didn't have a lot of exposure to the gasoline on a daily basis. And Anthony just talks about gasoline being a prevalent issue now because all of us, you know, we drive, we go get gas every day. I mean, I do it as well. And he just gives us kind of safety tips on like how to, you know, if you're gonna go get gas and you don't want to get it on your hands or on your feet because it could penetrate through the skin, use gloves, wear a mask. Well, now in coronavirus, we all wear masks, so I guess that's one plus. um, so basically, that's the deal with gasoline. And he also says, don't let your kids or young adults pump gas because there's so many chemicals in there. The next paragraph was about pesticides, insecticides, herbicides, chemical fertilizers, and lawn treatments. So, you know, a lot of us just associate pesticides with foods and the soil, you know, organic versus non organic. But even if you may be eating organic the whole time, you may still be getting exposure to pesticides just because they are sprayed everywhere, and that the wind is going to pick them up and you're still going to get exposed in some way. And then insecticides, they are usually sprayed at night. So sometimes you'll see, like in the summers, there's like a truck, like a village truck or a city truck just driving around spraying something. Those are usually insecticides. And they're sprayed at night because they're so bad for us and there's less people on the streets. So yeah, that's with the insecticides. But you're still gonna get exposed because you go outside the next day. It's gonna be on the grass. It's gonna be on the sidewalk. So yeah, I mean it's not gonna be as intense as the direct exposure, but you still get the exposure. The next paragraph was about radiation. So most people know about radiation these days. So you have it at airports, MRIs, CT scans, cell phones, that kind of thing. Radiation actually speeds up the aging process of your cells. So the next topic was plastics. So we encounter plastics on a daily basis. And what happens is when we get plastics in our body, when the liver is overburdened and it can't, you know, it's not cleansing anymore, it's going to release those plastics into your bloodstream. Those are going to get into your cells, creating a film-like coating in the connective tissue and the muscle tissue and the nerve tissue. So that is why plastics are not very good for us. And in the last portion of this chapter, Anthony just kind of summarizes what are these chemical industry domestic invaders that are bad for us? What are the petrochemicals, the toxic heavy metals, the pharmaceuticals? You know, he gives us a list of things to watch out for and things to be aware. So that's basically a synopsis of chapter 3 from Cleanse to Heal. And yeah, so this chapter, just remember, it's not there to scare us in any way. It's just a way to just inform us of what's actually going on. You know, this is the world that we live in. This is society that we live in, and basically the rest of this book goes into how can we keep ourselves healthy considering all these other things that are going on around us, all the things that we're inhaling, all the things that we're eating, all the things that are on our skin. You know, how can we function and live happy and healthy lives by cleansing. So I hope to see you guys tomorrow. So my notes, I have more notes on this. If you want my notes, if you're more interested in it, just let me know and message me about it or comment, and I can send those over. So yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow, and tomorrow is going to be chapter 4, what about the microbiome? So I'm kind of excited about that one. We'll see where that takes us. See you guys tomorrow, and have a good night.